Yeah, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender regime boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? So Jaron Ennis rematched CHUKHADZHIAN in his hometown, his second back-to-back headlining event in Philadelphia. And we all know that the first fight with Karen was arguably Jaron Ennis's toughest fight. And to be honest, you know, it was a fight that was, you know, gave Boots some issues in terms of figuring out his opponent, being able to assert dominance like he does in other fights, right? It wasn't like it was a fight where he got beat up or he got tested from a physicality perspective or a talent, you know, perspective. This guy came, it was more of a stylistic thing. Karen came in there, he was very fleet of foot, elite feet, elite legs, was moving like I had never really seen a guy move before, and was really good at evading shots and really, really good at making Boots have to reset anytime Boots wanted to get anything meaningful off on Karen. Karen just was not having it. And Karen, after going back and watching the first fight again, because at first glance, it just looked like he was running all night, because everybody was so, it was supposed to be a title eliminator, right? So title eliminator, and everybody was just so, you know, hyped up on the fact that, oh man, Boosie, it's a title eliminator. This is an opportunity for you to win a championship. And I know you just finna go out here and blast this dude out of there, right? So that's what you expecting the whole night. And when you get a guy that's moving around with elite feet and with the sole purpose of surviving, you know, it looks like he's running. But going back and watching the fight, Karen actually did do some interesting things, especially later on in that fight, with like trying to throw in between Boots shots, trying to counter Boots. He wasn't really landing anything meaningful, which is why he lost the fight. Boots didn't land a whole lot in that fight either, but he was the aggressor. He came forward and he got the victory, right? Deservingly so. The rematch, going in, we're thinking Karen, you know, this guy done been in the ring with Boots. He done went 12 with Boots, so he know he can make it 12. I did the breakdown on expectations for that fight, titled the video, "Can Jaron Ennis make the adjustments?" Being able to cut the ring off, because a lot of people, including myself, had criticisms with Jaron Ennis for the lack of ability to cut the ring off versus Karen in the first fight. He was never able to corner him and put him in a vulnerable position to be able to get his offense off. In this fight, I knew that Karen, especially with an actual title being on the line now, because now Jaron Ennis is champion. And this guy had went 12 with Boots. So he's comfortable with the idea of, hey, I can survive. I can make it to the cards with this guy. I've taken some of the shots that he has to throw, right? And this guy's going to come in, especially with more on the line, looking to set his feet and get some shots off. Not do as much moving as the first fight. And that's what we saw. Karen was very crafty, very awkward and unorthodox in terms of what Boots is used to, right? Compared to what Boots is used to, Karen was a little bit craftier, a little bit less conventional. And I think that gave Jaron Ennis some problems. He won the fight convincingly, got a knockdown. He hurt Karen a few times in the fight. He landed some really good shots. Karen, kudos to Karen, because he took Boots' best shit, to be honest with you. I don't think this is Boots' best performance, but as far as power punches and clean shots that were landed, and he did a good job. Karen did a good job of turning with a lot of those shots too. That way Boots wasn't really landing everything flush. But the shit that Boots did land flush, Karen handled it well. So kudos to him for that. And again, I thought that a lot of that plays to the confidence of Karen knowing that I can go 12 with this guy if I need to. A lot of times guys, when they already afraid of the power, then they get hit flush, it has more of an effect. But when you kind of know what to expect, you can brace yourself for those shots. You know how to turn with the shots because you've been in the ring with this dude before, right? So you can protect yourself a little bit better. And I thought that's what we saw in the rematch. All in all, man, I thought Boots put up a winning performance. Obviously, he got the dub, but we all know that all decisions in boxing are not righteous. But I thought it was a good, it was a victory. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to point out for Boots, just grading his performance. If I had to give this performance a letter grade, based off of what I expect from Boots, and this may be unfair because I have high expectations for him, but I'm also a realist. And I know that he hasn't really faced the top competition yet. So just looking at the film, the eye test, going off of the talent, the ability, what he has the potential to be, you expect Boots to put on solid performances, especially from a guy you already beat. But again, these are tough things. Like when you got a guy that you already fought, people think it's easier to beat him the next time when that's not always the case. A lot of times it's harder to beat a dude that you already fought. So whether you won or lost, you feel me? Like you done been in the ring with him. But taking all that into consideration, I would give Boots like a B- performance. It wasn't terrible, but it could have been way better because Jaron Ennis fell victim to what I criticized him about, I say 4 or 5 fights ago, right around the time when he fought Chris Van Heerden. He was going in there, guns blazing, head full of steam, trying to get his shit off, and wasn't pacing himself, wasn't being patient, wasn't giving us enough of the fundamentals, the jab, the patience to setting the shots up. You feel me? Taking what the defense give you, not forcing shit, right? Using a jab to the head and to the body. He has a phenomenal jab when he uses it. We see that it's snappy, it's fast, it's powerful. And we see that he can bring shit behind that from orthodox or southpaw. I thought that in this rematch, he was extremely overzealous and rushing, trying to go for the knockout. And I love Bozy Ennis, but I gotta give Bozy some criticism as well because I didn't like his coaching in the corner. I didn't like the fact that Boots coming back to the corner, clearly you just fighting off of pure instinct. Now, of course, they had a game plan in the gym. And in camp, they had a game plan. They worked on that. They already know what they came to do, right? So there's things that they're not necessarily gonna discuss in the corner in between rounds because they already laid this shit out in an 8 to 10 week training camp. So we already know that, but you still have to be able to coach a guy in the moment and give him some jewels and some things that he can take into the fight immediately that he can incorporate and execute right now in the heat of the battle. You feel what I'm saying? And Bozy Ennis just kept on saying, hey, man, what are you doing? Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Stop. You got to stop this guy. At not one point did Bozy tell him, okay, well, instead of taking this angle, take that angle. You see when he do his feet like this? This is how you combat that because Karen was taking advantage of the flat-footedness of Boots Ennis. Now we know Boots he's very athletic. He can move when he want to, and he can give you angles and shit like that, right? But Karen has elite feet, and Karen also showed that not only can he move backwards off the back foot for 12 rounds and be great from a footwork perspective, he showed you even in close quarters, his feet is good. So a guy like that, man, I feel like Bozy could have gave a lot more game in between rounds to Jaron Ennis and, kind of letting him know, hey, look, you can combat this particular angle that Karen is taking by doing this. I didn't hear him say go to the body. I didn't hear him tell Boots to stay behind the jab more and be patient and let the knockout come. he told him the opposite of that. It's like he forcing the knockout. And I know it's hometown. Y'all looking at Karen like, look, this dude don't belong in the ring with us. But at the same time, bruh, I felt like that was just dangerous. And it was reckless from Bozy Ennis. And look, that's his father and his coach. He brought him up to this point. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not necessarily saying that he need to make a change, anything like that. I'm not saying that. That's disrespectful. To see this guy bring him up to here and then the smallest sign of turbulence, you want to say make a change? No. But I also saw a little bit of this in the fight versus Avanesian. You know what I'm saying? You know, he'll tell him, hey, you getting hit with dumb stuff. Get him up out of there. But I just want to hear some more coaching. You feel me? I want to hear some adjustments being made in the corner. And I think that would have been big, man, because Jaron Ennis in his toolbox has everything available to him. And I really wanted more from Bozy Ennis in the corner just to let him know, hey, man, look, be his extra set of eyes and give him a different point of view so that he can go out there and incorporate that into the fight right now, into the game plan right now, and then maybe you could have got the knockout. Maybe he could have made the back half of that fight way easier. You feel what I'm saying? So overall, though, man, it was a winning performance. And as far as Boots moving up to 154, I think that should be the move. Obviously, they haven't. I mean, I can't really say they're having trouble making a weight, but if he feels weaker, if he feels like his strength isn't all there, if he feels that he would be much better by moving up, then by all means, go ahead and do it, because the Brian Norman fight was there, but that didn't happen. I want to give them credit because they actually tried to make that fight with Brian Norman. The team Norman turned it down, so that ain't on Boots. They tried to make that fight. I thought, to be honest, out of all the champions at 147 right now, that would have been the best fight. So you already tried to make the absolute best fight available in the division, and it couldn't happen. We know that this guy is naturally a big guy. He won't be able to stay at that division very long. Man, go ahead and move up and take you a couple of, stay busy fights and welcoming fights into the division of 154. I say start off with one or two, solid guys, not no killers, because I want to see how Boots feel at 54. I want to see what his power does to guys of that size. I want to see if he could take shots from guys up there. And then in that maybe the second or third fight, then you go to a Virgil Ortiz, and you get into the Madrimovs and the Terrence Crawfords and the Jermell Charlos, and you know what I mean? So I would love to see him get in there with an Erickson Lubin on maybe the second or third fight. I wouldn't even want to see the Lubin fight on the first go around, because if this trend continues from what I saw in the Avanesian fight and then this Karen CHUKHADZHIAN fight, even Lubin can take advantage of some of the shit that I was saying, the defensive flaws, and I think it's more mental lapses, because when Boots put it all together, man, I feel like he got it. He can do it all, bro. He's a complete fighter when he put it all together, but you can't have those mental lapses, and there has to be adjustments. You got to show the ability to make adjustments in fights. So y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. I didn't want this video to be too long. You dig what I'm saying? But I really wanted to, give y'all my full assessment on what I saw that night and what I think Boots should do going forward, man. Like I said, I think he should go to 154. Go ahead and move up, bruh, and start acclimating yourself to that division. And, unless you get a Brian Norman Jr. that's ready to come to the table and talk right now. After what they seen, another thing, before we get out of here, I want to say this. With Boots having trouble in the past getting fights, I think a lot of that shit finna change now. Most times, you have to look human before people, when you running through shit, it's gonna take one of them fights for you to look human before motherfuckers start knocking on your door. So this is good. This is good for Boots. Now you finna get a whole hell of a lot of opportunities, especially you move at 54, because there's killers up there. You dig what I'm saying? Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender Regime Boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.